You don't even like coffee, Teddy. Say hello to your friends. Say hello. Say hello. No? You just... Oh, okay. You want attention? We'll get started here in a second. Why, hello again, endurance nerds. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter ZWIFT. That's right, there's no Z or Z for you Canadians anymore. It's just ZWIFT, the big orange ZWIFT. And today's video is about our favorite letter, and it's a bit of a tutorial video. Now, for those of you who have subscribed and been around the channel for a while, I just want to give a disclaimer. This video might not be for you. I love you guys and would appreciate the support, and if you stuck around, but I do value your time. This is a tutorial about the workout mode and how to kind of navigate through that mode. Many of you are already familiar with that, but I did want to put this video in the library for those people who continue to join the channel, that continue to join the platform, and I wanted to offer up some kind of resource for them because I get a lot of questions about workout mode itself. If you're here trying to understand different zones, different types of energy systems, how workouts really work within the body, I recommend checking out this video up here. It's my Workouts 101 video. It is a comprehensive resource as to how workouts function, what the different zones actually mean. This video is only talking about ZWIFT and how to navigate workout mode itself. Having that understanding, now how do you use ZWIFT to pair that up and get a good workout? So we're gonna jump right into the platform here and I'll show you guys a little bit of an anatomy. Now you'll probably see here that I'm using what I'll call the legacy main menu screen. There is an imminent update coming. You may see it already on your computer, just depends on how they roll out this update that changes this screen. It will not fundamentally change the bulk of this video in terms of the workouts and how those work themselves. And I will do a video once I get the update for the main menu screen. But what you see here might be a little bit different, but again, you'll still be able to follow along for the whole video. So let's jump right into it. First, we're going to talk about how you get into a workout mode, and there's two different ways of doing that. You can do this right from the main menu screen. It's under this menu called Training here, and it will show you your workout menu, and you can choose any workout that you want before even logging into the game. Now, there's another way of doing that, and that is to do it right from the ride itself. So within any ride, you can enter the workout screen, and this might be helpful if you wanted to do some sort of warm-up, and you didn't want to exit the ride, you wanted to do an extended, maybe endurance warm-up before you started your workout itself, you can do this right from the menu within the ride itself. Now, there are two ways to do this if you are on PC or Mac, and one way to do this if you are on all other systems. The first way on PC or Mac, you can hit the letter E, which is a shortcut that brings you directly into the workout mode or selection screen here. It's a little bit quicker than going through the alternative method, which is available for everybody, and that's by entering the menu here, selecting your workout mode up here, and then it will enter the same workout selection screen. So there are a few ways to get into this screen here. Obviously, the easiest would be using that shortcut mode within a ride. Regardless of what system you're using, you can get into this screen right here. Now, when you look at this screen, you will see a number of selections here. It will default you to this tab called Workouts, which lists every single workout that's available by default in ZWIFT. There's also an area, it's outside of the scope of this video, but you could also put in your own custom workouts in the top here. Those will be available for selection as well. So just to understand, all of your workouts will be housed here. There will also be a tab for plans. This is if you wanted to select one of ZWIFT's prefabricated plans. I'm not gonna go too far into that, but you can absolutely explore these on your own. You can click on a plan. It will give you an overview in this text box here. It will give you some tags. You can actually view this in advance. You can kind of scrub through the different types of workouts to see if any of them fit really the bill for what you're trying to train towards. And then if you would like to enroll in the plan, you can do that. But I really want to focus this video on what you will actually see when you're doing a workout, whether you pick it from a plan or you select it from the menu. Now, back to this workout selection tool here, you can see that for every workout that you have here, you have this descriptive element up here. Depending on who created the workout, sometimes you'll get some really valuable information, sometimes you won't. I recommend reading that area. It might tell you what to expect in terms of the energy systems that will be utilized, purpose of the workout. It's not always clear from the graph what you're trying to accomplish in a workout. So if a workout creator has done a good job, you should get some pretty valuable information. It will also tell you if you last completed it, the number of stars, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will often find how many stress points, which is an equivalent to TSS. I won't go too far into that. I have some other videos in my catalog that talk about those elements, but if you are aware of what that means, that will actually be available for many of the workouts at the bottom of the description. Below that, you're going to find your graph here, and this is your overall graph to show you what you're going to be performing in your workout here. You can see as you hover over the different blocks here, the workout or interval blocks, that it will provide you some information. So at this point, I would be doing 3 minutes of 115 watts of power. So I can do that for all of these blocks and figure out, what my max power is going to be, how long each interval is going to be. It might tell you something a little bit more granular than what you will see in the workout description so that you can mentally prepare for what's going on before you even log into the workout. Now you have some adjustability here as well. If your FTP is off, sometimes that will happen if you haven't performed an FTP test, or perhaps you've done an FTP test like I do on a different platform and you haven't copied that into Zwift. You can go ahead and make that change 2 ways. You can either type in the number down here, or you can just use this little scrolling bar. You can see that the workout will scale to my power. So if I wanted to change that to, let's say, 200 watts, it's a little bit touchy sometimes with the mouse. We'll just leave that the way that it is, but that will scale the entire workout down to that new FTP value. Now it's a good point to talk about. Each of these interval blocks here are built on the back end on a percentage of FTP, which is why it is scalable. So this workout, regardless of what your FTP is, will be of the same relative difficulty for any rider out there as long as their FTP is set accurately or correctly. Now, of course, people have different strengths in terms of energy systems. Sometimes people thrive at FTP or around their FTP. Others thrive at higher levels of power like sprint, VO2 max, anaerobic, and others are really kind of those endurance animals that do really well at zone 2 and zone 3 for very long periods of time. There are no right or wrong answers. More or less, these are going to be the same relative difficulty for any rider, regardless of FTP. So if you wanted to share these workouts with others, they're going to be doing something just as hard as you are doing. Now you've got some options down here as well. You can click erg mode on or off. This is applicable to those of you with a smart trainer, so this will not work on just a standard wheel-on trainer without smart capability. I have a video on erg mode. I will link that down below if you're not sure how erg mode works, but essentially it will change the resistance for you to match the power so that you don't have to worry about shifting, which can be a bit of a pain in the butt for fast workouts. So just know that you can click that on or off before you even get into the workout. And then I'm going to take a minute and talk about the create your own workout function as well. So it gives you a bit of a tutorial right here built in, right? It can show you where you can change the name. You can hit this edit button and you can change the name to whatever you want. I'm just going to leave that the way that it is. You've got a spot for typing in a description. You can say my workout. You can leave the author in there. You can tag it as maybe you want to tag that as interval, or you can make your tag really hard. You can do whatever you want in terms of that description. Those are just kind of for you, and if you want to put that in your library. Now on the right hand side, this is where your workout blocks are going to live. So you're going to be able to drag and drop any of these blocks onto your timeline here. So you can kind of move those in here, and they all kind of do different things. So let's go through how these blocks work. You can go ahead and take these off the screen if you want to trash them, but I'm going to go through one by one and show you how these work. So these are all the same. You can see zone 1 through zone 6 here, and these are going to be just a straight block of power. So if you're just going to hold a fixed amount of power for a particular period of time, that's when you want to use these blocks. So you can drag one of these down into the timeline. Now you have some options here, right? So right now it tells me that this block is at 215 watts for 5 minutes at default. What I recommend you do is actually change that to a percentage of FTP. The more and more you understand about power zones, the more that this will make sense to you, because you want it to be a relative output of power, not just a particular wattage, because your power will change over time, right? Your FTP might go up or it might go down. So if you rate this based on percentages, you'll have a better understanding of what output you are looking for from yourself or from a group that maybe you're creating a meetup. So you can change this display to % of FTP. And as soon as you do that, you can see as I click on this, it'll say that's 109% of the FTP that I had set on the other screen. So let's say I wanted to make my interval here. I can make that 120% of my FTP. It'll actually move my zone, which is very interesting and very helpful, because if you pick the wrong block, you don't have to delete it. I can actually make this go all the way down to 50%, and it will move it down into my recovery zone here. So if I select 50%, it will move that all the way down. So it really doesn't matter which ones of these blocks over here that you drag and drop. It's just kind of an ease of use. It starts you at a baseline that is more appropriate to that zone. So you can change that power. You can also use the arrows here to kind of micro adjust and drag things up or down. You can see how the zone's going to change. You can change the duration either by typing into this box here. I can make that 15 minutes. Press enter. I've got 15 minutes. If I wanted to use the arrows on the side here, I can just drag and adjust here as well. And I can make that interval whatever I want to make it. So you can see that it's kind of flexible and you can do whatever you want with it. The next block you have down here, warm up and cool down. Now, I would not necessarily reserve that only for warm up and cool down, but I think that's where you'll see them the most often. These are just going to be kind of your ascending or descending intervals where you're adding power incrementally over time. And you can change that scale. So if I click on this ascending warm up here, it tells me that my power starts at 25 and ends at 75%. I can change this to be whatever I want, right? I can change this to 45%. And if I hit enter, it will change the scale here. I can also use these arrows and adjust them up or down like this. Now, sometimes you will see these in the middle of a workout, and you might see this as an ascending threshold where you have a very slight increase over that period of time that moves you into a different zone. So you can see that that might not necessarily be a warm up or a cool down. So you can use those at any point in the workout. They don't just have to bookend it. You can also change your duration just like you did with the others. So if I grab this and pull this out a little bit longer, I can make a long ascending threshold block here. Same thing with the cool down, just in reverse here, right? So I can go ahead and make all the same adjustments that I just mentioned. And if you push this up, it will just turn it into the other type of block. So kind of smart and intuitive that way. It will make the adjustments as you adjust the workout itself. The next block you have here is an interval block. Now, an interval block is just repeating intervals of the same type. So your valleys of maybe your on intervals versus your off, or maybe your recovery valleys, they will remain the same for the entire workout. So I can actually drag these up or down. They will all change. I can drag these up or down. So maybe I want to do some very high anaerobic efforts here for a certain period of time. If I click on those, it'll tell me the duration's 1 minute. Maybe those are too long. I don't want to hold those for a minute. I want to hold those for, we'll make those 28 seconds, right? And then you've got a nice long recovery valley of up to 5 minutes. Again, I can change that. I can make all those micro adjustments by either typing into these boxes or dragging things along the timeline. So you can really make that workout whatever you want. You can also change the number of intervals, right? I can continue to repeat these out indefinitely, and the lowest you can make is 2, because beyond that you're not having repeated intervals, right? So this is a great way to do those high intensity interval repeating sets. If you needed to vary the recovery valleys and the on valleys, then you're just going to have to use these traditional blocks over here. Now I'm going to leave an article down below about experience points and workout mode. I've talked about this in other videos before, but I'm going to shorthand it here. You earn experience points in workout mode based on interval blocks over time, not based on mileage in kilometers. With the exception of any type of route badge you may cross during a workout, you will get full experience points for that. But other than that, you will not accrue experience points with each kilometer or mile that you cross. You will earn them based on your achievement of those blocks and then a multiple of time. And the Cliff's Notes version of that is that the most experience points over time, or XP per minute, that you earn are going to be in these types of blocks, those repeating interval blocks, versus your standard block or your ascending/descending block. So just understand that, read that article down below. But as a caveat to all of that, make sure that when you're doing workouts, you're doing it to be a better athlete and not looking for any types of experience points. It's kind of defeating the purpose. On that note of XP, this is probably a good time to talk about stars. I'm going to link you guys to this article here from Zwift, and it talks about how you earn stars during a workout. And on the left-hand side here, and we'll talk about this more when I go into the workout screen, you'll see that stars will populate as you achieve a workout. So once the interval is complete, you will get either 0 stars, a half a star, or a full star. And what that indicates is your adherence to the objective of that particular interval. So achieving the power target over a period of time. Now you will achieve a full star if you are plus or minus 12% within that interval power over time. So anything over is not going to give you extra credit. It will be considered a failure to that interval. So you need to be plus or minus 12% of the target to get a full star. I believe it's from 12 to 25% that achieves a half a star, and anything over 25% off of the adherence of the workout, that will generate 0 stars. And that will in fact impact the multiplier for your XP. So that article from Zwift Insider will outline the numbers and how that multiplier is affected. But understand, when you get those stars, that's what they are relevant to. And stars from a physiological standpoint don't particularly matter all that much. There are going to be reasons why you might miss a star even though you've done a great job at the workout. It happens very often when you're doing a shorter interval like a sprint, where you may overshoot and the interval is so short that it just doesn't average out. Don't worry about that from a day-to-day training standpoint, but just understand that's what they are relating to. The last type of block we're going to look at is this one here. This is the free ride block. Now you might see this for a number of different reasons. The only adjustment that you'll have here is duration. You'll be able to change how long the free ride block is. There's no power deliverable here. That is on purpose. You might see this for a recovery interval where you don't want to limit or place too high of a benchmark on somebody's recovery after a hard interval. You may see this for some sort of sprint. Again, sprint capacity is different per athlete. You do not want to throttle or overshoot somebody's capability, so that block might end up being a free ride block to just sprint as hard as you can for whatever that period of time is. And the last way that you might see this used is some sort of test. So we do have, of course, our FTP test. You may see a free ride section for 20 minutes, but you may also see this for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, to test your different power zones at different durations of time. Again, beyond the scope of this video, but you may see these types of free ride blocks strategically placed, or if you're building your own blocks, you might want to put that in. If you wanted to do a 3-minute power test, you would use this type of block here. And then after the fact, you would look at your power readout, you would scrub over that 3 minutes, and you'd get yourself an average of power over that 3 minutes. So that's going to do it for the executable or interval types of blocks. We have a couple of special blocks here. The first one being a text event here. I can drag and drop this text bubble to somewhere on the workout, and I can have it say, prepare for VO2 max. Whatever I want it to say, right? I can put that in there. I can change the time offset, or I can drag that to a different area in the workout here. So I could just take this and move this to wherever I want in the workout. And that will pop up a text indicator to the people on the workout, whether it's for you, maybe you're going to be doing a meetup, but it's a way to add some text to your workout. The other element here is a cadence element. So this you drag onto an actual interval itself. So you can actually change this standard block at 104%, and you can actually give it a cadence deliverable. So you can actually change this to something like I wanted this at 95 RPM. And it will show you on the screen what the cadence deliverable is. If you change your mind, you can go ahead and hit this X here and it will get rid of the cadence deliverable. But it might be a good way for something like a muscular endurance set that you can add those cadence deliverables to different types of interval blocks. But that's about it for this screen here. It will give you a readout as to what your workout duration is. You can go ahead and extend this out if I wanted to make that a flat, 60 minutes, what have you. I can make that whatever I want. You have to be a little bit more precise with where you're moving the mouse or how you're using this on different types of platforms, but you can build your own workout. You can either hit save or you can back out. I think this workout is garbage, so I'm not going to save it. I'm going to discard it. But that will end up in your workout library here, and you can use it whenever you want. Now I'm going to open up a workout here that I know has some cadence deliverables, so I can kind of show you the anatomy of the screen once you jump in here. So if I go to this endurance strength development here, I know that this one has cadence intervals, and you can choose workout. It will open it up on the screen. I'll hit back, and here is what you will see when you are in workout mode. So much of this is just variations on a theme. Right across the top, you have the same bumper or the heads-up display here with your speed, your distance traveled, your ascent, all of that fun stuff. Below that, you'll see this block that shows you how you are doing on the workout itself. Now you will see the power deliverable here. It'll say something like warm up or hold, and it'll have your wattage here, and it'll show you how long the interval is going to last for. This here is kind of a count up timer. It will fill up this bar as you proceed through this 5 minutes here. So kind of a reverse hourglass, if you will. Below here, you will have your wattage. So it will be in black if you are within about 5% of the prescribed wattage, and it will turn red if you are over or below that kind of plus or minus 5% there. So it will give you that indicator, either more power, less power if you are not hitting the target. Over to the right here, you will see your heart rate. And then below that, you will see the cadence that you are currently riding. Obviously, I'm not riding, so there's no cadence here. But this will show everything and update in real time. Your power will be contingent on your averaging. I usually have 3-second averaging to make it a little less jumpy. I recommend that. You can do that in your settings, but that will all show at the top here. Now, for the left-hand side of the screen, this is going to be kind of helpful to see how you progress through the workout at a glance. You'll see that at the top, you'll have the name of the workout. You'll have another count-up bar here. It tells you how long it will be before you finish. So as you move through the workout, this timer will go down, and it will show you all the intervals that you have forthcoming and what power executable and how long you're going to be holding those intervals. So as you move through that workout, your bar will progress through these different interval sets here. So you can kind of see what you have left and what you need to mentally prepare for. So it can be very helpful for you. Now down here at the bottom, this is going to show you what's called your bias. Now the bias is an indicator of how difficult the workout is against what has been prescribed. So at 100%, you're doing the workout exactly as prescribed. You can turn this up or down. So if I turn this up, you can see that all those power values will start to change, and it'll do a multiple of 105% against all of these values that you have here and make the workout a little bit harder. So I can kind of go all the way up here to about 110%. So you can add 10% to the workout, and in the reverse, maybe you're just not not feeling it on the day, you can go all the way down here to 90%. And the reason that you have those 10% buffers up or down is because at that point, you're really just fundamentally changing the zones of the workout if you're going over 10%. Arguably, you're going over the zones of the workout at about 5%, but it allows you a little bit of flexibility if you're feeling a little bit stronger or maybe a little bit weaker on the day so that you can still get through the workout, get good work done, but respect the fact that sometimes we're just tired, right? So you'll be able to adjust it right here from this sidebar, or there's a few other methods that I'll show you as to how to do that as well. Now, if you click on the bottom of the screen or you tap your screen, depending on what platform you're using, you'll see that you have a couple of extra controls down here, right? I've got advanced control here, so I can actually skip through to the next interval. You can kind of see that that arrow and that highlight went to the next interval here. So I could use that if I wanted to skip an interval here. I could pause the workout. So you can see that it paused my workout if I hit that button, and I can resume the workout there. You can see where that button that turned red, right? My cadence is not on target and my power is not on target. So as soon as I hit the target, those will turn black to show me I'm within range. I can turn erg on or off. There are times in the middle of the workout that you might want to turn erg off. If you're doing maybe short, punchy interval sets at 15, 20 seconds, and you don't want to worry about the interference or the time that it takes for the erg mode to adjust, especially on ZWIFT, a little on the laggier end, you can actually quick press that and turn that off for those intervals and then turn it back on for maybe your recovery valleys, so you don't necessarily have to focus on matching an easy power target while you're just trying to recover here. So that can be helpful for you as well. Over here, you can kind of turn the bias up or down. So especially if you're not on a PC or Mac where you can't really get these little tiny buttons over here, those buttons are also available on that kind of pop-up menu from the bottom. And then the rest of those menu items are the same, right? You got your camera view, U-turn, chat, all that fun stuff still remains. It's just offset to the right versus all of those new menu add-ins that you'll get for workout mode. Now, while I think that the on-screen controls and availability is certainly helpful, I would actually recommend that you use the companion app on a device like a cell phone or a tablet, if you will, depending on what platform that you're using, and use the companion app to act as your control mechanism. It keeps everything really close together, really tight. You can keep it with the arm's reach. You can put that on your bars. You can put it on a table nearby. Might be a little bit easier than using maybe a touch screen a little bit further away, using your remote for your Apple TV, or obviously using the mouse for a PC, especially if you are doing a harder workout. You really don't want to be messing around too much. If you can just do a quick click here or there, the companion app is great for that. So you can kind of see it's going to be an abridged version of what you see on screen here. So along the top, it's telling me what my deliverable is. It says, let's go, 40 seconds at 65 RPM. That's exactly what it's telling me to do up here. Then you have a bit of like a tachometer or a speedometer, if you will, for your power deliverable. This white line will be the power output. Obviously, it's at 0 right now because I'm just sitting here. But when you are executing power, it will move that bar along that curve there. There's your target, right? That plus or minus 5% or so for your power deliverable. So you want to get that little white line in that green sliver, and anything over or under, it's going to tell you more or less power. This number in the middle, that's going to show you how much power you are currently executing. It will show you your current cadence as well as your current heart rate. Now, the controls below is really where this becomes effective. You can quick toggle that erg mode on or off. Again, there may be many reasons that you might want to do that. You can pause your workout, you can resume your workout, and then you can change that bias that we talked about right here. You can see that it's making the adjustments on the screen as I'm adjusting it from the app here in real time. Now, I want to make a note here. When you turn erg mode off, there's a setting here that actually gets confused with bias very often. And this is your incline setting. So when you turn erg mode off, you are in what is called incline or resistance mode. And that sets a fixed resistance around which you need to shift to add or subtract power. And you are responsible for matching what is on the screen. It's just a different way of doing the workouts. But to set that baseline resistance around maybe that center point of power, maybe it's your standard recovery zone, perhaps it's at 55% of your FTP. When you start your workout, you might want to dial in that resistance by turning this up or down. Maybe mid-workout, you think that you're a couple notches too high. You can make those adjustments to the resistance on your trainer, and it will just change that baseline resistance at your set point around which you're going to shift. So they are different than bias. Incline adjusts the resistance at the trainer at a fixed mode. Bias actually changes what the interval is feeding you or the workout is feeding you. That's all available right there from the screen. The last thing you can do from the companion app here is you can swipe to the right, and it will actually skip that interval. It's not doing it right now because I'm not actually pedaling, so the workout is not advancing. But as soon as I start pedaling, it'll actually move me to the next interval there. So you can see you've got some handy controls, right? You can deal with your erg mode, you can deal with your bias, you can skip an interval, you can do all the things that you would want to do or need to do from the main screen much closer to your fingertips, and it can be very helpful. But that's pretty much it for workout mode. It's simple, but it's not particularly intuitive. So I'm hoping that this video helps many of you navigate through workout mode. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you are looking to better understand power zones and why workouts are designed the way that they are, check out that video that I'll leave at the end screen here as well. It's a very comprehensive resource. Just to give you a warning, it is long. It's over 40 minutes long. However, it is a download of things that took me and many other riders years to learn. You know, I learned a lot of this stuff before videos on YouTube were pretty ubiquitous around this subject, and it takes a lot of reading and experience to understand. That video, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass here, but it is very helpful in giving you a huge leap forward in your understanding of training zones that you can couple with your experience and understand it at a much quicker ramp rate than myself and many other riders were able to do when we started riding. So if you have time to watch through that video, it is chaptered, so if you needed to take that in chunks, maybe watch 10 minutes at a time, you can come back and hit the chapter that you left off on and learn a little bit more. It can help you navigate things like FTP tests, what the different zones do, the type of fuel that you need, and there is a bit about erg mode at the end as well. So I recommend checking out that video if you haven't already, or if you're newer to structured training. I'll leave another training video down here as well. Please hit all the buttons, YouTube-y stuff, thumbs up, subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.